Hi everyone, it's me, Arielle, and it's Wednesday Warriors. And this week we're going to be looking back on the last few weeks that I have talked about. This week we're going to be talking about reflection on psychological factors in achieving positive body image. Basically what that means is we're going to be looking over what's been covered when I talked about body mastery and control, when I talked about resisting the internalization of the thin muscular ideal, and also when I talked about self-esteem. And I can talk about some ideas and coping strategies and just kind of go over it again. We've been talking about body image, of course, but we can't forget that body image and eating disorders don't always go hand in hand. When I was talking about self-esteem, I was explaining the difference between self-esteem and self-worth and self-confidence. I think more than straight and strict body image issues, so many people with eating disorders, and even people without eating disorders, have self-esteem problems. And it's really so sad because, there's no other way to say it. Society plays a role in our low self-esteem. And it's just so sad that the things that we are bombarded with on a daily basis are mostly negative. And I think it's very important to find the good things, the positive things in every day and in every activity. And certainly it's possible, but it's very sad that that can be a challenge. And it's also very sad that you have to force yourself to find the good, that it isn't the most prominent thing in your day. I gave a bunch of tips in the last few videos from the last several weeks. Suggestions like keeping a compliment log when someone tells you something nice, so that when you're having a bad day, you can go back and look at that log and you can see these compliments and you know they were true because you have the date on which they were said. And as that log gets filled, it's really validation that there's nothing wrong with you. There's a lot right with you, and look at what all these people really think. But another suggestion that just encompasses positivity as a whole would be at the end of each day, whether the day was good or bad or mundane or okay, to think of the positive things, think of the blessings, think of things that you're thankful for. And if you can only think of one thing, I challenge you to think of two more so that you go to sleep at night having two in your mind that you're very grateful for. And they don't have to be anything big. Just like I tell the women in the support group I lead when we do goals, your goal for the week doesn't have to be a huge, incredible goal that may take you months to accomplish. And it doesn't have to be some huge, huge challenge that you are going to be thinking of every waking moment. It just has to be something that you will find it a challenge to do that you wouldn't do otherwise. When we're talking about things that you're thankful for, it just has to be something that was positive in your day that you liked, that you appreciate. And I often use the example of my morning cup of coffee or my morning cup of tea. That's something I'm thankful for. And it's a simple, tiny thing, but sometimes it can be a bright spot, and that's okay. I thought for today to do a little something different than I normally do with my Wednesday videos is do a little motivational mashup. And for any of you that are familiar with my regular personal YouTube channel where I do all the eating disorder recovery videos of my own, I do things called motivational mashups. And it's a bunch of clips from videos that I have done. And sometimes they are a theme, but usually they're just positive, guiding montages of maybe it's a one-liner, maybe it's two sentences, but clips that are for encouragement. So that's how I'm going to leave this video for today, with a motivational mashup of things that I think really encompass the last few weeks of our rotation, being self-esteem, resisting the internalization of the thin muscular ideal, and body mastery and control. And I hope that this has been helpful for you. I hope it's encouraged you into the right things, and I hope mostly that it gave you support and that you felt supported and that you know that you're understood by some people out there and that people really do care. Show yourself the good stuff that's out there, because it is out there, and hopefully with enough work and activism and people who want to portray those positive messages, the positive things will keep multiplying and they will eventually outnumber all of the negative. I think more than anything, I use the word self-love, even more than self-esteem, to encompass a lot, because I think self-love is so important. Communication is key. You can't be an active participant in a support group if you are not willing to communicate. You have to be willing to communicate your fears, your likes, your dislikes, your struggles, your achievements, your successes. You have to be willing to speak. Relearning what health and beauty are and look like is very important. Self-love means, do you love yourself? Do you have that appreciation for yourself? And you need to have that. I'm always talking about taking your control back if you've given it over to your eating disorder, and I'm always talking about how the more you use behaviors or give in to eating disordered thoughts, the more you are relinquishing little pieces of yourself and little pieces of your control. The media perpetuates this negative sense of self, especially for females. I think it's good to take a minute to think about all these different self words and how much each of them means to you, and if you apply them, and maybe almost grade yourself on your self-worth and self-respect and self-confidence. I think a lot of the time what happens is, especially if you have an eating disorder, your perception is so skewed that what you think is there is not there, or what you don't see is there really is there, and it can be very confusing and very troubling, and it can certainly be a big challenge, especially when you are on a recovery path and you're trying to get better, but you really can't see things for what they are. Sometimes you don't have to redefine beauty. You can just remind yourself of beauty. I think we focus on the bad and the negative, and we do it sometimes without realizing that we are, and sometimes we do it as a sort of self-punishment. For example, if you're told 20 things that you're good at, or 20 wonderful things, or you have 20 compliments told to you, but one bad thing is told to you, you'll focus on that one negative thing. And we all do it. If you get a report card, back when you were a kid, or you're in school now and you get grades, and you have 10 A's and then one bad grade, you're going to focus on that one bad grade, even though all the other 10 grades are A's. And it's just this natural predisposition that we have to go right to the negative and focus on that and pinpoint that and berate ourselves, because either we're holding ourselves to high expectations, and if it's not ourselves, it's because other people are holding us to high expectations. Don't give away your control. Get as much support as you possibly can, whether you have 10 people who can support you in your life or one person. The number of people is not what matters. It's not the quantity, it's the quality. And that is so true when it comes to support. I hope you're having a wonderful week out there, and I'll see you next time. I hope you're all having a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Bye! So, I will see you all next time. Have a great week.